Hey everyone, welcome to Checkpoint Achieved. This is episode 7. I'm Bryden Keks, and I've got with me here today Gage, Paul, and Mike Leahy.
Fuck mason jars.
Fuck mason jars.
Fuck mason jars.
I was on the bus today, guys, and there's this dude that had a backpack, 2 mason jars in his side pockets. I was just like, what you doing? I got a nice water ball here. If I wanted to save the earth, if I wanted to recontribute to this planet,
I could refill it.
But he's got 2 mason jars full of water. These are big mason jars.
They can't see this, but that is
I was just like, I wanted to, when I go on the bus, I want to leave the bus. I want to have a car. And I should have a car.
I have a car.
You have a car.
You don't have a license.
I don't. Oh, no, I have a license.
Oh, you do now?
I do have a license.
Good for you.
I'm not 16, everybody. I'm just terrible with taking...
he's just really irresponsible. For the longest time, he did not have a passport either.
Yep, that's true. That's me.
Model citizen Bryden Keks.
I'm going to the U.S. in the fall, though, so I'm going to get my passport and it'll be all good. But enough of all that. Let's jump into the news, because we have to do a bit of a shorter show today just because of the fact that I posted up a bunch of episodes to get this show going on Libsyn. We've run out of a bit of space, so this episode's going to be like 50 minutes long or so. So we're going to run through some stuff. We're going to do a sprint.
Speed round.
Maybe not. We'll see how fast we can get through all these news stories, because we actually took a break last week to do the Bioshock Infinite podcast, and that had to do with the fact, too, that we didn't have enough space. I wanted to get that podcast up. So we will do podcasts every week, and I'll try and wrangle some guys together to do it like this. Yeah, I'm keeping that in there, because that's just, that's some good radio right there. Okay, so first off, Metal Gear Solid 5 officially announced at GDC. Now, this is the weird part about this game, is that the Phantom Pain, everybody knew this was a Metal Gear Solid game, but they were kind of going, no, it's not, it's the Phantom Pain, developed by Moby Dick Studios, and it's like, okay guys, we know that Kojima's behind this, we know this is a Metal Gear Solid game, just cut the crap.
Yeah.
And they finally did cut the crap, but the weird part is that Ground Zeroes is still a game. It's coming out, they are 2 different things.
They are separate games.
Yes, and it'll be a prologue to the Phantom Pain. What are your thoughts on this, Gage? Because this is just a whole bunch of what the fuck.
Where does this fall into the timeline of Metal Gear Solid?
I think this is before or after Metal Gear Solid 3.
Okay, so that's... Metal Gear Solid 3 is the first one chronologically.
Yes. You're playing as Big Boss, as I understand.
Okay.
Revolver Ocelot is riding a burning horse in the trailer. It doesn't make sense. Metal Gear games do not make sense, and as we are talking right now, Mike Leahy has just finished a Rubik's Cube. He's very proud of it.
Within like 10 minutes.
Have you played any Metal Gear Solid games, Mike?
No.
Okay, I played Metal Gear Solid 4. I've dabbled in the other Metal Gear Solids. I think it's one of those things that you probably got into if you were maybe 5 years or a couple years older than us. I don't know, it's just kind of my feeling on it, because when these games came out, when they were in their heyday, when they were hot shit, they were games that we were like, this looks stupid.
Yeah,
why would we play...
Dumb.
Yeah.
Cutscenes.
Who wants cutscenes again?
I love cutscenes.
Metal Gear Solid? If you love cutscenes, play Metal Gear Solid 4. That game is a cutscene.
There's 45 minutes for you to play the game.
It's not all a cutscene, but it is legitimately... There's points in that game that's just like, you're just like, put the controller down, I made some popcorn, I'm eating the popcorn now.
Yeah, but it's old now, and if I wanted to really get into the story, I'd have to start from the beginning, and I don't want to start from the beginning because the games are so old.
That's what I'm doing. They made an HD collection. I'm going to play both of these Metal Gear Solid games because I'm determined to become a Metal Gear Solid fan.
I'm gonna like it! Urgh.
I'm gonna play all of them, starting with Snake Eater, which I've already started, through, and I will do that before these come out.
Stop waving your hand. You almost smacked me in the face.
I'm sorry.
I don't have the due diligence to go back. I can't do it. That's like, I tried to do it with Sly Cooper. I played through the whole Jack series. I did that. Like, there was these points last year that I was like, okay, I can commit these long hours to playing these games and getting in touch with them. I'm out now at the point that I just want to know what's going on today, and if I can do a little bit of due diligence, go back, play like a Bioshock before I play Bioshock Infinite, then that's awesome. That's just like 15 hours or 10 hours that's going to be a good experience. I don't want to jump into like a Metal Gear Solid trilogy or like 4-piece pack where I'm like just crying by the end of it. 5, okay. 5.
I'm doing 5.
5 pieces. Come on, Brian.
Yeah.
I'm doing my old game time with Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes. You're going back. That's something that there are games that you should just play no matter what. And we're going to actually do something to, not this episode, I'm going to put it in right now, is the fact that next episode we're going to talk a little bit about games that we think we should still play and games that we should still invest some time into before this generation is over. Because there's going to be games coming out for the PS3, the 360, for quite some time after this. But we're talking about games specifically that are games that we haven't played yet, that are older games now, that we want to play before the next generation comes, because we'll just forget about them.
Like if you don't play it before this generation ends, it's kind of like you're missing out on part of what this generation was.
There are specific games that added something to what video games are today, and I think that we each maybe missed a couple of them, and we're going to compile a list of 3 games each that we're going to go back, we're going to update you guys on through the months coming up.
We have to do 3 games now? I can't even think of one.
Well, it doesn't have to be 3 games, but 3 games is kind of like a solid number for me.
Can it be all in one franchise?
If you want it to be. But I'm just saying that for me personally, I'm gonna take some time, think about it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take any time.
Okay, you're just gonna
I'm gonna come up with it when you ask me. I'm gonna
right on the button.
Be like Final Fantasy 1 through whatever number it is now.
And then you'll commit suicide, and we'll
That's
be like
700 games.
700 games that I missed out on that I want to play but will never.
And that's just this generation.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you guys, the guys listening to this podcast, or girls.
It's practically like committing seppuku or hirikiri. The Japanese thing where they stab themselves in the stomach and then they have to like cut open and then the guy cuts their head off, right?
Mike is doing a visual for us right now. It's pretty nice. Okay, but yeah, what we want to do is next week we're going to bring our 3 games, or whichever amount of games you want to bring, Mike, that we want to play before the generation's done.
I have to bring the game?
No, you don't have to bring the game here. I'm talking metaphorically. Okay?
Show and tell.
Yes. This is the game I want to play. Why I want to play it.
If I had the game, I probably would have played the game.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so like, God.
We're trying to get short podcasts.
Clarity.
Okay. Next week, we will talk about 3 games that we want to play before the end of the generation.
There you go.
Okay. Think of some games that you might want to play as well, and join in with us if you want to, or recommend a game that you really think is important. I know we haven't really talked that much about games we have and haven't played as of yet, but recommend a game that you really think is one of the best games of this generation, something that you feel like really added to this, because these are games that we want to play that added something and changed how games are today. These are ones that if we missed them in this generation, people will talk about them for a couple of years afterwards, and we'll just be like, oh, I don't really have anything to say about that because I never played that game. So just kind of like rounding out our knowledge of this generation before we move on to the next generation of games.
Also send us email questions.
Yes, we have one this week. We are so excited. Kevin, you are a saint. We're going to get to your question later on in the episode.
Bryden has a hard on right now.
Yeah, I'm just raging boner as I'm speaking. Okay, so speaking of raging boners, DuckTales Remastered.
Best transition.
Thank you. DuckTales Remastered is an official thing that's going to be coming out from Way Forward Studios. They're going to be remaking the game DuckTales, the 1989 Nintendo Entertainment System game.
I am not going to play that.
I am going to play the shit out of this game because I loved DuckTales when I was younger. I don't know how I was able to gap that generation and still watch DuckTales, but I was a big fan of it. Never played the game, but it's considered one of the best NES games that ever came out. So I'm super excited to see what they do. If it's going to be the same thing, but they're going to make it look nice, like it's 2D and 3D art that they're using, and it's a remastering of the game, so they're saying that it's still the same game, but they're really just doing it over again. So it's kind of neat to see that an actual project like this is being done for an old game, because you don't really see that often.
Yeah, they're starting to do more HD remakes, but it's more with like PS1 games.
Stuff that they don't have to break down and rebuild.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like remastered movies. I don't like remastered games.
Old game is old?
Old game is old. Stay old.
Okay. And Double Fine, another story that's kind of interesting. They had that big Kickstarter last year for the point-and-click adventure that they wanted to do. And they did really well. They had a lot of success. And it's probably the biggest Kickstarter story that kind of started off this whole Kickstarter frenzy that we've gotten happening.
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I came up with a good idea for a video game.
Okay. Wait for me to finish, then pitch it.
But we don't have any coding capabilities to make a video game, apparently. So
no, maybe you do. Maybe you have some sort of.
I don't.
You just like tap into it. You plug yourself into the computer, and you're like, beep,
I
pop.
can hardly figure out how to sign out of Facebook.
Okay. So we probably shouldn't entrust the keys to this franchise to you.
Don't back our Kickstarter.
But yeah, no. So their Kickstarter that they wanted to do, the Broken Age is the official name of it, and it's going to be no real release date on it, but it's not going to be coming to console. At least they haven't said that yet. It's pretty much coming to every other platform though. So kind of interesting their choice for that. I guess a point and click adventure is more for the PC though.
Yeah.
It's not really console oriented in a lot of ways. But I'm still excited to see this game. I didn't kickstart it, or I didn't pledge my money into it, but I was interested in when it came out.
I didn't back it up either, but I really like a bunch of the games Double Fine has done, so I will be looking forward to that.
Yes, definitely. And moving on from something that's interesting to something that's a little bit more disturbing, Square Enix this week has revealed that the 3 games that they've released most recently, Tomb Raider, Hitman Absolution, and Sleeping Dogs, all failed to hit their sales marks. And these games are all... I haven't played Hitman Absolution, but Tomb Raider and
Sleeping Dogs
are probably 2 of the better games I've played in the past 12 months or so. I really like Sleeping Dogs.
Sleeping Dogs was a game that I bought on Boxing Day for like $20, expecting nothing of it, and I've put so many hours into that game now.
Yeah, it was a really great game, but they were expecting the moon and the stars from these games. And it's kind of sad to see this, that they put so much onus on these games to sell that they missed the mark massively. But Tomb Raider shipped 3.4 million copies in 3 weeks as of this news story, and that's a lot of copies shipped. I know they're not sold, but they're probably going to sell those copies, and that's going to be, even though they're not going to say that's a success, that is still a success in most people's books for a video game. And it's nice to see a game like that do well too.
Yeah, Tomb Raider was a good game, and it sold good. I don't think Tomb Raider is that big seller, though. Like, I think they're expecting too much out of it.
That's probably true, but I think that's one of the better games that they've released in a while. Again, like I said, Sleeping Dogs is another great one as well. Sleeping Dogs only 1.75 million sold, and Hitman Absolution 3.6. Still pretty respectable numbers, though. And for a game that had, like, it's a new IP pretty much, Sleeping Dogs. I know it was based on True Crime Hong Kong.
But it's a lot more different than True Crime.
So that's a lot of sales for a product that no one expected anything out of.
Yeah.
Like you said, you bought it on Boxing Day for $20. So hopefully they'll get that turned around. And with that said as well, they've also seen the president of the company, Yoichi Iwata, step down, and just kind of a sign of the fact that...
He went and committed Harry Carey. Because he's Japanese. That's a Japanese thing.
Yeah.
It's like samurai. He's lost his honor because he lost.
That's true. No,
he's shamed.
It is true, because in a lot of ways, this company...
He committed financial Harry Carey.
Yes, he did. And you have to look at it this way, because this is a company that is respected in Japan and respected around the world. They are not doing good right now. They're making stupid decisions as well, like with their Final Fantasy franchise. They have not made Kingdom Hearts 3. What the fuck? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not a big fan of Kingdom Hearts in general. Actually, Kingdom Hearts 2, when I played it, was a really good game. But that's a series that people have wanted for years and years and years, and they haven't made it.
There is a huge demand for that game, and I don't see why they don't at least throw something together.
It drives me crazy thinking of all the things that this company could do to, like, make money. There's properties that they have that they could just essentially back up the dump truck and just money flying all over the place, all out,
And instead of that, they just decide to remake
Final Fantasy X, when they could even remake Final Fantasy VII,
which is what people have been asking for forever,
and get more money.
They're just going with, like, I think there's a lot of things about pride as well, that they're trying to shoot for things that they like. Well, we could do this and we can make this better, and we want to do it our way. And sometimes it's better to listen as well to what people actually want. So he's going to be replaced by Yusuke Matsuda in June. I'm not sure what he's going to really do for the company. But I'm excited to see what he might bring to the fold, because just a new person at the helm of this company is probably better than what's going on right now.
I'm interested to see where that goes.
Good English, everybody.
I'm interested to see where that goes.
Yes, definitely. Okay, from that though, a smaller story. 2 PlayStation exclusives have been given official release dates. The Metroidvania platformer Guacamelee, which I am super excited to play, is coming out next week. listen in for more about that because I'm going to be playing the shit out of that game.
I will play that, but I am bad at Castlevania and original Metroid, so I will not enjoy it.
Well, it's just like the art style of this game looks so cool. You're a luchador, and it's based, I'm assuming, in Mexico, where you're actually killed at one point, you come back to the dead, and you have like this weird platforming mechanic where you're going from the living to the dead, and I don't know, it looks really neat. And it has, like, from what I've seen from the art of the game, crazy art and really funny humor. So that looks really cool. And Puppeteer, which is another game that's going to be a PlayStation exclusive, is coming out on September 10th. Don't know as much about that game, but it has kind of like a Little Big Planet vibe to it, to do with puppets. And we'll see more about that in the future probably. But good to see that stuff's still going to be coming out for Sony coming up in the next little while. And another thing that's kind of happening right now, similar to Guacamelee, is the Ouya is actually shipping to Kickstarter participants. And these were the people that backed the Ouya when it came out on Kickstarter. Do you know much about the Ouya?
I don't.
Okay.
Is it like a Steam box?
It's essentially this...
Oh, is that it's the thing with the Steam?
No, it's not the Steam box. Okay, no. Steam box is something completely different. Ouya came out
but is it
last
the same
year.
idea, though?
Not necessarily. It's a system that you can use. It's using, I forget what, I think it's something 3. I want to say Integra 3. And what it's running on essentially is it's this kind of platform that people can bring out indie games for. You can play smaller games. There's going to be some bigger games. Yeah, it's open source. So you can actually go into your Ouya. You can actually mod it the way you want as well. And it not necessarily is going to be like this great next-gen console, but it's just something that people can use for developing games if they want to. And if they don't want to do that, they can play games on it too that are essentially on your big screen TV instead of on your phone or on your computer. It's kind of like that alternate option. And
HD ridiculous fishing.
Yeah, I'd be down for 50-inch HD ridiculous fishing, but I'm not going to buy this console because I don't really see any use for it.
No, I'm not buying it either.
Nope.
But that's going to be coming out June 4th for retail. But it'll be interesting to see because Kickstarter participants are going to get their copies, or they should already have their copies right now. So we're going to start seeing the feedback a little bit from that. You know, people that are actually enjoying it or if it's going to go downhill. Because it's one of those things we haven't seen that much from Kickstarter. And kind of waiting for some terrible thing to come out and everybody's going to be wanting their money back. That's going to happen every once in a while. I'm not saying it's a system, but...
Well, the few things that I've heard from like Kickstarter coming out already is I mean like fairly good feedback, but no one's really been like I backed this thing on Kickstarter, that's amazing.
Yeah, there's like the Pebble Watch too that came out that a lot of people are just like, why do I have this?
This is kind of cool, but also kind of not.
Yeah. So
it's a good idea though.
It is. It's neat, but it kind of goes into the same aspect. Both those things actually. Do you really need it? It's just like an iteration on what you can already do right now.
Yeah.
So another big reveal this week, and this kind of already been semi-teased at for a while now, is that Battlefield 4 is going to be coming out this year. And I showed you guys out the trailer. There's a teaser one that was only like a minute long that was for a TV spot, and then there's like the 17-minute gameplay trailer. We watched the 1-minute trailer and then a bit of the bigger one. And this game's going to be running on Frostbite 3, which is a new engine from EA. It's also going to be running Dragon Age 3, so excited to see what that does with the Dragon Age series, because Dragon Age 2 was not that good.
No, it was not.
No, they can hear you right now.
They can hear me, I think. But the thing is
Maybe not, though.
The thing is, I'm excited to see what they're going to do with this new technology, because it is essentially just better graphics, but that does add something to a game.
Hopefully there's more destructible stuff.
Yeah, well, from the gameplay I've seen, it looks like they're really amped that up a bit more, and I'm excited to see what they do with that, because that was probably one of the better parts of a Bad Company when that game came out.
Definitely.
Better graphics, it immerses you more into the game.
Yeah, it does, but the problem is you look at Battlefield 3 and that campaign...
It gives you the feeling of the world, right?
Yeah, but you don't have to do that with amazing graphics. Like, we just played through BioShock Infinite, and that world is extremely immersive.
Yeah.
But it's...
Well, that's not what I mean, though. It doesn't necessarily have to be realistic graphics. It's just the art form of the game can really immerse you. It gives you the feeling of the world, what the world would feel like, what it would feel like to be there.
Battlefield 4, like, that trailer is probably... And again, how real is it? Do we really know what the graphics are going to look like when it comes out? But that trailer is probably the closest thing that I've seen in a while to me kind of going like, holy crap, this looks crazy. And I'm excited to see more from it, but I just want to see gameplay. I want to see that they're actually doing a good job of the story, because I know that a lot of people are going to be into it for the multiplayer, but this game kind of lacked on a lot of levels.
Story still counts.
No, it does definitely.
Even in a shooter game, it still counts.
But I think it's still second to the multiplayer.
It is definitely.
It is second, but it still counts.
I would buy a $40 edition of Battlefield that didn't come with single player.
If people are gonna complain and bitch about single player games that have shitty multiplayer, then it's got to be the same way around, the other way around too.
There's a point to be made there. I think for me, like, okay, I'm gonna play Battlefield 3. I have the game now because of the SimCity debacle, but I'm gonna play through the single player. That's what I want to experience from the game, and then after the fact, I'll play through the multiplayer. I know there's thousands and thousands of people that will just go to the game straight to multiplayer and never touch the single player. But if I'm gonna buy a game, I usually try and play the full experience. When I got Tomb Raider, I touched the multiplayer just to see what it was like, even though I knew it was probably gonna be bad, and it was bad. And I just hope, in this case, for this game, that they're going to make this game a lot more rounded, a lot better. Because Bad Company 2 actually had a pretty fun story to it as well. It was not amazing or anything like that, but it was better than Battlefield 3 was.
Battlefield 3, I played a little bit of the campaign, but I was just like, this isn't that interesting. I'm just going to go back to multiplayer.
That's fair enough. Okay, so the next story I've got here is continuing on with the Frostbite 3 engine, but more specifically Unreal 4, and the fact that both these are not going to be used on the Wii U. And specifically, Epic co-founder, let's see, I got his name here. I don't have his name here. My bad. He specifically said to the point that he doesn't see the reason why these games should be on a Wii U or PlayStation 3 or 360. There's going to be scalability, so if someone wants to go back and do that, they can, but these games are going to be using this engine to make amazing graphics, to make a game look great. Why would you put it on something that
can't do that?
Yeah, and the best quote that he had from that is that I just laugh at this question. Unreal Engine 4, we're not PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, or 3U or Wii U, it's next-gen technology. Specifically saying that the Wii U is not in that field. It is not this next-gen console.
And it's not.
Definitely isn't, but it's one of those things that's going to be not contested for that, but the fact that people are trying to make the point that it's HD now, it's in the same field, but really, when we see these new consoles come out,
not even close.
It's gonna do is just upset Nintendo fans.
That's true. Well, it's kind of like they're getting left out to dry right now, and I feel bad for them.
For another generation of consoles, people who are hardcore Nintendo fans are being mistreated.
Yeah, and they're gonna get the games that they want, but they're not going to get the full experience. Like, the fact that Mass Effect came to the Wii U, Batman Arkham City came to the Wii U.
Assassin's Creed.
These are games that, they're like, finally, we're going to get the games that people are playing.
They don't run well on the Wii U, though.
Yeah, and it's sad, too, because this current generation of consoles, they're still not even running that great. And you're going to look into the next generation, and just the same process is going to begin again. It's going to start all over. And at least the one positive that they have is the fact that they actually do have a controller that is a normal controller now. So you can play games with...
Thank God.
A normal controller, and you don't have to use the waggle.
The waggle?
The waggle, yeah. What I mean is, like, I played Skyward Sword, and I couldn't get through the game.
Could not play it.
I was using the Wii remote, and I was shaking it, and, you know, using the nunchuck at certain points, and I was just like, I don't want to do this right now. I want a controller in my hand. I had this experience that I've already set in my mind that I want to do. I don't want to be standing up. I don't want to be moving my hands around in like all these weird ways to play.
I don't have to rearrange my furniture to play Zelda after work.
Yeah. There's a bunch of things that when you kind of take that out of the practice, that you can actually have a console that has a proper controller that, you know, is similar to other consoles, then at least there might be a little bit more for them, but still looking kind of bleak right now.
There's a reason why controllers don't change much. It's because they're good the way they are.
People are used to them too.
Yeah, people are used to it, and they're effective.
360 owners like the 360 controller more. PS3 owners mostly like the PS3 controller more. It's because it's these people that have used this console for so many years, have gotten comfortable with what they use. They're not going to want to see that change. And I don't really think the only, like, I say that those people that have those consoles like it that way, But then you look at the people that probably have the Wii, and they're hardcore gamers, if you want to call it that. I don't like using that term, but the idea that these are not just families playing Wii bowling or something like that.
They're not casual gamers.
Yeah, these guys want to actually play a game with a controller more often. There's probably a bunch of people out there that actually do enjoy the Wii remote, but I can probably take a good guess that there's more people that want to see a change in that, and good for them for actually giving them the opportunity to use something different.
I mean, there's certain games that it worked with, like No More Heroes 2. The motion control in that was fun.
Yeah. So let's see what else we got here. So one of the other things, too, that I wanted to talk a little about is we talked about, I guess, a couple weeks ago that Telltale is going to have some sort of branching thing between Season 2 and Season 1 of The Walking Dead. They've also got another game that works, too, though, which is called The Wolf Among Us. And this is based on the Fable DC Comics, which I've never read before.
No.
But this is going to be something that they're going to be doing on the side on top of doing The Walking Dead. And this game is playing on a theme that we've seen a lot of. It's largely based on Wolf, your main character, trying to keep fairy tale characters undetected in the real world in New York.
Why?
It's like Once Upon a Time, except the video game, but not really, and based on a comic book series. I think there's going to be fans of it because there's always fans of like comic book series such as that. But at the same time as well, I'll give this the benefit of the doubt because I really liked Walking Dead and I want to see more from them. And their other stuff that they did wasn't necessarily bad. It was just
Jurassic Park.
Okay, but still, I'm just saying that I want to see more. I want to see what this might do. But I'm really just mostly excited about The Walking Dead Season 2.
I will check it out, but I'm not of it. I'm gonna wait for reviews to like trickle in, see what people are thinking before I dive into that game.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Let's move on to new releases this week. Last week, we didn't really touch on the new releases. We're going to move on from that. BioShock Infinite is pretty much what we've been getting into. But this week, a little bit more on the quieter end of things. What else is coming out this week?
So we got Defiance for the 360 PC and PS3.
And this is kind of a weird game because it's an MMO that's coming out for consoles right at the end of the generation, which is interesting.
That's a poor choice.
And it's also tied into a sci-fi TV series as well. Which is...
Not sci-fi as in S-I-F-I, as in the channel network S-Y-F-Y, which makes awful movies.
Yeah, so this is kind of... I want to see what happens with this. I'm not really a big MMO fan, so I'm not going to touch this game at all, but I'm interested to see if it's going to get any good responses, because it's one of those weird games that comes out...
It's weird. It's like they just... didn't consider that new consoles were going to come out when they came up with this.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like...
Well, there's going to be people that are going to play...
They were thinking this was going to be a huge thing, right? Where, I mean, they made a TV series with it and everything.
Yeah, but most people... I think the thing with that, though, is that they're making this game, and I don't think they would have had to delay it quite significantly.
They didn't think it through. They did not think
well, I think they put thought into it, obviously.
But they didn't plan their schedule very well. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah, and the other thing as well with this that's going to be interesting to see is that so many MMOs that are coming out are not getting a great install base, and this doesn't seem like it's going to be a grand slam.
I think an MMO for the consoles is a cool idea. In theory, I don't think it'll work out.
Yeah, but the other thing I want to touch on too is that
maybe it has to be the right style of MMO too, because what are the two major MMOs that are coming out? They're shooter MMOs, right?
Well, there's Dust 514 that's connected to the EVE
really
Online,
MMO,
but it's connected to EVE Online, so there's an MMO aspect there where you're working with these people from an MMO,
which is maybe a better idea than
you're tapping into this source that likes to play console games more, and then you're using your PC outlet for the other aspect of it. But there's going to be the new game from Bungie that's going to be coming out. That's
Destiny.
Yeah, Destiny, and that one's going to be an MMO shooter. I don't know what it's going to be exactly because I haven't talked that much about it. But that game's going to get people on board just because it is Bungie. But this one specifically, the one thing that also needs to be noted too is that there's going to be a pretty big install base for a while. I think it's better for them to actually release this on the PS3 and 360 now than release it on the next generation of consoles, because if they do that a year from now, how many people are actually going to be playing their games?
Probably not.
Because on our level here, there's going to be actual people that are in the industry that will buy their systems and even have their systems beforehand the next generation of consoles. Because we're pretty involved gamers, I'm gonna have my PS4 right out of the gate pretty much.
As soon as possible.
Yeah. And I'm not speaking for you guys, but not everybody's gonna do that. A lot of people are gonna wait a couple of years to do that. So most people will just have their old console for a while, and there's gonna be already hundreds of people that are gonna enjoy that more because of the fact that it's already they don't have to go buy something new to play it. It's gonna be there for them, and I think that's better for a game such as that.
Yeah. I can see how that would make sense.
Yeah. So the other game, too, that's going to be coming out this week is the follow-up to Castle Crashers.
Yeah, Battle Block Theater by the same guy who made Castle Crashers.
Yeah, Behemoth. And that game's been in development for a long time. But I'm excited to see what it's about.
Yeah, I was a big Castle Crashers fan. Like, I really liked that game. I own it on, like, both consoles.
Yeah.
So I will probably check this one out.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily the same thing, but it seems like it could be a fun time.
Well, I also like their other game, like Alien Hominoid.
Yeah.
And I think their games are funny.
They have a little charm to them that makes them stand out from a lot of other games.
We also got Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge.
Yay. I think this is just like another spin-off of, or like another re-release of the same game. I have no clue about this one, though.
Yeah. No,
so,
I don't know.
Yeah, but let's move on, though, to what we've been playing this week and do a game spotlight. I think the game spotlight we need to do, because we haven't talked about this game at all, is we need to shed a little bit of light, spoiler-free, on BioShock Infinite. Because we have the BioShock Infinite spoiler cast. If you guys have already played the game, then you should check that out, because we pretty much just talk everything about that game. But I wanted to just touch on the main details of BioShock Infinite and just our experiences with that game overall.
That game is really good.
It is really good. Mike has yet to play it. We're telling him to play. He's looking at us like he's in spite of us, might not be playing it, but it's one of those universes that I wasn't expecting to be just consumed by, but the fact that they're able to make Columbia such a realized world, have all these characters that connect to the story, and also just people are walking in the fair, other places too, that are people that you don't even know, but they're just making these small comments that really feel like they add to the story. Again,
the world is really fleshed out.
Yes, and it makes you care about it, and as we talked about too, Elizabeth, your character that you're pretty much partnering with for most of the game, is one of the better characters I've ever seen in a video game. So, yeah.
And even the combat, it's a little bit repetitive.
It is, but
it's fun.
It is definitely fun. And the one thing that I want to say about the combat, because we didn't really talk that much about the combat in the spoiler cast, is that it does have a repetitiveness to it, but you can make it any way you want. You can change the combat to be your specific type, because we had Dan on the podcast. He said he had it pretty much a certain way for the whole game. I really switched up a lot, but I'm going to be playing through the game on 1999 mode, and when I'm going to be playing through it that way, I'm going to be definitely trying to do the best I can to kill enemies, but I'm going to be playing around with the Vigors as much as I can, or the Salts as much as I can to, I guess it is the Vigors. I was thinking of, what's the one in BioShock called?
Plasmids?
Plasmids, yeah. So it is Vigors. And I'm going to be playing around with the combinations and stuff, see if I can get something fun going with that. But
yeah, I'm going to be mostly guns, I think, for that.
And the one question I want to ask you, I took some time to think about it a little bit more. Putting the infusions into what certain spot? What do you think is going to be the best for 1999?
Shields.
Shields?
Shields and a little bit. Like, if you put a couple in salts, you have enough that you don't really need to worry about it. Elizabeth.
I feel like health's the way to go.
It doesn't, like, I find that my shield is really small and that it gets drained quicker, and if I can keep that up, I don't really have to worry about health.
It just looked like to me when I was getting the infusions that whenever I got boost to the shield, it didn't go up as much. Like, it didn't seem like the shield would be, like, by the end of the game when I had my health to a pretty long bar, my salts to a pretty long bar, the shield was still pretty short, and I did stop putting stuff into it after a while, but I was also kind of feeling like if I would have really maxed it out, it still wouldn't have been the same. And I don't know, I think maybe what you should do is play it through high shields. Yes. I'll play it through with high health, and then we'll just come back and kind of talk about how that...
See what strategy is working out.
Yeah, definitely. But it is a game that if you've yet to play it, do go play it, because it's an absolutely fantastic game. And as I kind of touched on, when we probably talk about games that... Game of the Year, this game right now...
will definitely be brought up.
Yeah, it's going to be brought up, but as we talk about right now, after we played Tomb Raider... we thought that Tomb Raider was a great game. After playing Bioshock Infinite, it just created this delta of like putting a game that was really good in perspective and just kind of looking at that afterwards saying, I actually thought that game was going to be considered one of the better games this year.
Yeah.
And it was weird because when you don't see games like this come around that often, that have that type of impact, that have that type of actual presence that you play through it and you're just like, wow, that was really awesome. And Tomb Raider was a really fun time, but again, just kind of different levels.
Tomb Raider is good. It's like a solid game, but Bioshock is amazing.
It's kind of like the all-around package bit. But we'll move on to other stuff we've been playing this week. And I'll start off with you, Gage. What have you been getting up to?
I played some Mass Effect.
Okay.
Keep
it on with that.
Yeah, I got a little bit farther, so I wasn't really having fun before. But that's because I was still like really early on in the game, and the characters weren't interacting as much.
Yeah.
But now my partners are starting to talk to each other during cutscenes, and
things are starting to come together.
Yeah.
Have you gotten to a point where something big happens?
I'm on the second mission still.
Okay, so you're not. You were really just. You're just taking your sweet time. I know you've been playing Bioshock. So.
Yeah. I've picked up, like, I was literally at the start of the second mission for a week.
Yeah.
And it didn't get any progress.
But you're starting to kind of push through.
Starting to make progress. And that was only like an hour of playing it, so.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, Bioshock, and a bit of Mass Effect going on there.
Lots of Bioshock, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. What about you, Mike? Because you've been talking about Way of the Samurai a bit.
Yeah. That's an interesting game. Because I've been doing just different stuff. Because I don't know, I just wasn't originally attracted to Bioshock Infinite, but now it sounds like I'm going to have to play it. Because you guys won't shut the fuck up about it.
We will not leave you alone.
Anyways, so in my defiance of Bioshock Infinite, I decided to buy somewhat of a low-budget game. It's called Way of the Samurai 4. It's Japanese. It's a JRPG, I guess.
Is it like free roaming or?
It is, but it's like a small, confined world, right?
And one of the things you get too of those games is that it, like, comparatively to like Yakuza, right? Those games come out like 2 years later in North America.
Yeah.
So it might have. I don't think it was necessarily because I think it's a bigger series over there. I just think that the game, like, because they take forever with some of those games. It
probably is more popular in Japan because obviously nobody in Canada or the US has heard of it.
Yeah.
Like, very few people
when
play
you were talking about
you can only get it on PSN. You can't, like, go to the store and buy a copy of it.
Okay.
So, and it is in Japanese, too. It's all subtitled, but that doesn't really matter. There's not too much important dialogue that you would need English for.
What hooked you on the game? Because you were kind of, when you were talking to it about us...
Yeah, I know. Okay.
You were like, this part's bad, this part's... But this...
It has shitty graphics, and the gameplay, like the fighting in it, is really bad.
Just like the perfect pitch.
It has... Pretty much all you do is you block, you do weak attacks that are fast, and strong attacks that are a bit slower, but still pretty fast. And... the strength of your sword doesn't really make any difference or any of this stuff.
So what's good?
But what's so fun about it is there's tons of customization. You can make your samurai look however you want, pretty much, which is a lot of fun to do. To just go through the game and try and come up with a really cool looking samurai.
That's
and
cool.
Learning different ways of fighting too, because there is different styles. Another thing, probably the biggest thing and the most ambitious thing they have is their story mode. Like, not the story mode, the whole thing's a story mode, but their story, there's several different, I'm not sure the exact number, but there's several different endings. And each ending depends on who you side with at certain points in the game. And the whole idea is, with this game, it's not meant to be played once, because you play it once, you'll finish it in about 6 hours, 5-6 hours, something like that. But after you finish, you can start another game and you'll still have all your gear and stuff like that, which is really interesting.
It's kind of like a new game plus.
Yeah, it lets you keep what you had, but get to experience more of what's there.
Exactly. And it's really addictive game for some reason.
It's got you hooked a little bit.
Yeah, maybe it's just because I'm really fascinated with the whole samurai culture type stuff.
Yeah.
And there's not really a AAA samurai game out there.
No, there isn't. And I think that we've touched on that in the past bit too, where if you're fascinated with a certain type of genre or just a type of place in time,
the game can be bad. And
it can be total shit. And I'm not saying this game is shit, but you still have some sort of redeeming quality to it because you're like, this game's the only game I got. Like, I think that, again, when I talk about LA Noire, it's not a bad game, but somehow inside me, it gets, like, raised up a couple levels just because of the fact that it's kind of awesome to play a noir game and be a detective, because there is no games that are like that.
It's like me and Assassin's Creed is really the perfect... It's a great game, but I just think it's the best game ever.
There's like a... I wouldn't...
Because I'm so fascinated with the idea of being an assassin.
I will not vouch for LA Noire. I fully admit to the fact that when I talk about it, that people don't like that game. So
I liked LA Noire. I thought it was awesome.
But I'm just saying, like, when Gage looks at me every single time with a weird look in his eye,
I don't know why Gage doesn't like it. I think it's great.
It's not a game.
You play through it is a game. Get over it.
It's barely a game.
Did you like The Walking Dead?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that a video game?
Kind of.
Kind of.
It is.
It's pretty much the same stuff.
Yeah, but you feel
fact,
like you affect the
more
story.
freedom.
No, I don't even.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of interpretations of what a video game is. Because you can play a game like Proteus and people get pissed off when you tell people that that's a video game. I enjoyed that game. 40-minute game. Just walked around on an island. Kind of cool, though.
Yeah. Well, like Journey.
Journey.
It's like a 2-hour game.
I'm going to play
and
that.
all you do is walk.
Yeah.
Right?
You
walk, you jump, and you find stuff, and that's it.
And you talk to people. Through
not really. Yeah, you just
chirping.
make sounds at each other. You're not really doing anything, but it's an experience for whatever reason.
No, it is, and it's a good experience. I think that when it comes to games,
I'm gonna go home and play Journey today.
Games should be whatever they want to be, just so that people can try stuff out and find stuff that's unique. Because if you shut something down that's unique, then what's the point of someone else trying to do something different as well? So when I usually look at games like that, I try and give every game that's different the benefit of the doubt, and I try and give it a shot if I'm kind of interested in it. And that's just because I know that and this is just one person, but if I buy a game that maybe is a little bit different, then maybe that person can do something even greater than that. Because you look at the people that made Journey, they made a game called Flow before they made Journey, and they made a game called Flower after that. And those games were interesting games, but they were not on the same level that Journey was. And just kind of being there, like, I had a fun time with Flower. It's not, I don't consider it anywhere close to being what Journey is, but kind of being there and saying to myself at least that I'm buying this game, I'm going to check it out, it's kind of a cool experience, that it's supporting something that could become greater. Because usually these people that have creative ideas that you like in a way, if you give them the budget to create something maybe even bigger, and you can't necessarily do that yourself unless you're just someone that can actually give away money in that way or invest lots of money. You can be an angel investor too if you do have the money like that. But someone like myself, no way I'm going to do that. So the best way that I can kind of say to a company that you're doing a good job is by buying the game, checking it out, and hoping that they'll do something cooler, better, and bigger in the future.
I have a proposition for you, Bryden.
Okay.
I will promise to play BioShock Infinite.
Yes.
If you promise that if Way the Samurai 4 goes discounted on PSN, you'll play that.
Will you...
I'll make that promise.
Now, details here. Do I have to play the game to completion? Do you have to play the game to completion?
No.
No.
But you gotta give it a try.
So, okay. So it's an open-ended...
Yeah.
I'm thinking you gotta try the game at least for an hour, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least, 2 hours or something.
So 2 hours for you, too?
2 hours for me, 2 hours for you.
All right, that's fine enough for me.
A legitimate try.
I want you... Because
it's $40 on PSN. I don't really think it's worth that unless you really want to try it.
Yeah.
Which, I don't think you really do.
No.
But it is a really fun game. And I'd really like you to know... It's really hard to explain why I have so much fun with it.
Fair enough.
And there's tape on my sock. But
I will take this and I will agree to this agreement.
If it goes on discount on PSN...
That's fair enough. I will watch. I will legitimately watch. I want you to... because you played BioShock, right?
Yeah,
you felt like you got your fill.
Really enjoy it too much.
I
struggled through it. So.
I just want, like, I'm not gonna say, because when we talked about BioShock Infinite there, we're kind of praising the game, but I didn't go into any detail when we're talking about, and specifically for that point, before people start talking about this game, I want you to experience it and have a good time with it. And if it means that you get to a certain point, you're just like, I just don't want to do this anymore.
At least I gave it a shot.
At least you gave it a shot. But yeah, that is one of those games that if you give that game a chance to take you someplace, I think that it might stick with you. Even if you didn't. Same
with Way of the Samurai. I know it sounds like a piece of shit game, but I'm.
This is like a shitty deal for me too. I'm joking, but I'm saying you play BioShock Infinite, I play Way of the Samurai. No, I'll play
discount.
Yeah.
Okay, BioShock's like full $60 price.
I'll play it.
Way of the Samurai is gonna be like $20 for you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's only if.
Yeah.
Like a price drop.
Who knows? Maybe I'll see it. Maybe I'll see it around somewhere and it'll be cheaper, and I'll just be like, yeah, I'll give that a shot, because you've got me intrigued, because you have.
It is.
When someone.
Even if you come over and try it at my house, you don't even have to pay for it. Just come over and try it at my house.
All right. Have you been playing anything else this week?
Just a bit more Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay.
Killed the first flying Colossus I've seen. I don't know if there's more or not. That was an awesome experience.
That bird. Holy crap. I don't know, just like that feeling, I was talking to you guys before we started the podcast, that when that bird's coming at you and you have to jump on, it's like you can feel the bird coming at you. Yeah. It's a weird thing, but it's like it just has this force of it coming at you.
Especially when you're wearing like really good headphones, which I was.
And the sound and everything.
It's
it's vibrating.
It's cool.
Just a really great battle, and there's more to that too. There's more to that game that's really cool, but yeah, definitely one of the better experiences I've had.
Oh, and I beat the tower thing, like the what's it called?
The giant.
The ladder in Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
On hard. So I'm pretty proud of myself.
That's good.
I've been working my way up.
I have no clue how hard that actually is, but I
can't beat it on medium.
Okay.
Yeah, Conrad went and bought the game. Our friend Conrad bought the game because he played it at my house and he really liked it.
We should have Conrad on sometime.
We should. Because he's kind of a weird guy. So
he's a nice guy.
He's an interesting dude.
Yeah. So we'll get him on.
Yeah.
At some point.
But he went and got it, and now he's convinced he's gonna get really good and beat me. But he's not.
It's not gonna happen. Okay. So besides BioShock Infinite, I haven't played that much this week. I took some time after BioShock Infinite to not play video games, just to kind of be like, okay, this is good, and I don't need to do anything else right now. But I did play a bit of Borderlands 2, playing some co-op of Borderlands 2, and that's a fun game. I played Borderlands 1, that was alright. I knew that Borderlands 2 was already out, so I just decided to jump to Borderlands 2. And not too far into that game overall, but I'm having fun playing through it.
Is it just pretty much similar to BioShock? I mean, Borderlands 1.
Exactly the same as BioShock. No, it's pretty similar to Borderlands. I think they just kind of take what Borderlands is, have a bigger budget so they can do more things of it, make the environments more interesting. The game's quirky, and it's outrageous. That's what kind of makes it interesting. And it's a fun game to play with someone, because you get to work as a team, and that's probably one of the better parts of playing that game.
That's the reason I did not buy Borderlands 2, because I missed
the
month after.
boats.
I was like, if I play this now, everyone online is going to be super high level. All my friends have already beaten it.
Yeah. There's no point in me jumping in now if everybody else is just going to be like, you're too low of a level for me to play you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Yeah, for me, this is kind of like a cool opportunity just to play through it, because I got someone that, I can just on call ask to play with me, and it's a fun experience. I'm really looking forward to finding the screaming gun in that game, though, because there's one gun that when you shoot it just starts screaming every time, and I'm going to see how long I can last holding that in my inventory before I just lose my mind. So yeah, that's pretty much me this week, because I just haven't played that many games. But let's jump into
our question.
Yeah, we got a question.
Yes. All right.
Kevin.
It's from Kevin. So we haven't gotten a question yet, and that's why we're super excited.
So this is our first official question.
So our first question on the show is from Kevin, and he's asking us, what is a popular game that you do not like? So there's a lot of big series out there, right? And
so, do we just pick one game?
Yeah, just one game, or it can be a series. Okay. I mean, just something that a lot of people play that you just kind of give it a shot. Not something that you've just completely not touched, but give it a shot. But something that you just do not really care for. It doesn't mean you hate it. It just means that you've kind of
don't like it.
If there's a new one coming out, you're like, not really that big into it.
I got mine.
Okay.
Go.
And Bryden is not gonna like this, but
it's okay.
Uncharted.
And why do you not enjoy Uncharted?
For the record, that's one of Bryden's favorite all-time games.
Yeah, I have tried Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2, and I get to about around the 5-hour part where I'm just like, I'm no longer really having that much fun. And like, I can understand why people like them, and I understand why they're really good and popular games. Like, it's a good game. It's just not my thing.
And for me, I like that because it's I'm a big single-player fan, and when I play that game, it's kind of like that really centered core experience that you do get from some other games, but they do it really well.
Yeah.
And I get where you're coming from, because you know what? If you're not really... Like, one of the big gripes I have for that series is that the actual combat isn't that great. I like the maneuvering through environments, and...
The big cinematic moments are fun, too.
Yeah, but there's two things that series doesn't do that well, and it's kind of shooting. I don't mind the shooting, but I've heard people that just say straight up, I don't like Uncharted shooting. I can play through that. And then the other thing too is those sequences where you're running to the screen and you don't know where you're going. Have you ever had one of those? Have you played at a point?
Yeah.
Where it's like you're essentially running towards the screen, so you have no clue where you're going. Something big is going on and chasing you behind you, but it can completely break your experience because you just start running into walls or something like that if you don't know where you're going. So those are my two gripes of the series. But yeah, it's a good series to not like.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
I don't like Left 4 Dead.
Why don't you like Left 4 Dead?
I don't like you.
See, they're like, this is you're drawing this hate between us, Kevin. What are you doing this for?
Yeah, come on, Kevin.
Jeez. So why don't you?
Because I've just never really gotten into co-op.
Okay.
Games.
So it just never really had the same intrigue as maybe.
That game is pretty much all about co-op.
Yeah, it is.
So it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It doesn't do it for me.
I love.
And I don't like
games.
zombie games either. I don't need to kill zombies.
Okay.
I need to kill zombies.
I need to kill zombies too.
I want to kill things that can kill me.
Hey Gage, Left 4 Dead 3. Play it?
Yeah.
Okay,
if
cool.
that happens.
All right.
Left 4 Dead 3.
It'll be like 7 years from now.
Do you think they'll call the fourth one Left 4 Dead 4?
They just call it Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead. And spell like that.
Left Dead 4?
Yeah.
Just move the 4.
All right. So my game that I don't like the series of is the Halo series. And the reason why I don't...
Awesome choice. That was my second choice.
I feel like I think we can all agree that in some way, shape, or form, we're not big fans of Call of Duty.
Xbox.
In its certain form right now. We're not big fans of the current Call of Duty, right? I feel like that's kind of like the cop-out choice that I like Call of Duty back in the day. And now I'm kind of like, Call of Duty. But the reason why I say Halo is the fact that there's been points I've played through the series, there's been points that I've played games, but I've never... Like, there's so many people out there that love Halo. They love Halo. There we go, Gage. See, we've actually done the circle. Gage doesn't like Uncharted, and I do. Then you don't like Left 4 Dead.
The only thing you guys haven't done is picked one that
I guess it's just me and Gage. Yeah, so okay.
It's because you guys haven't picked a game that I like. That
Assassin's Creed, but that's not true.
Yeah, that's not true. He's got a tattoo of Assassin's Creed, so he can't say that.
Not me. Gage has a tattoo.
Yeah,
of Assassin's
Gage has
Creed.
an Assassin's Creed tattoo, so
yeah,
he's
not allowed to say he doesn't like Assassin's Creed because
that's like Assassin's Creed 3.
Or else he just prints random things on his body, pretty much.
I just Sharpie this in every day.
Yeah.
Do you actually?
No.
Okay.
So you know, it looked like it was fading last time, and now it looks a bit darker.
I got to touch.
It's a secret.
Oh, okay.
So the reason why I don't like the Halo series, and I think they're playable. Like I played through.
Yeah, just get to the fucking point.
No, you guys you're side tracking me. I need to get to the point here. Okay. So the reason why I don't like the Halo series is the fact that I played through Halo 2, I played through Halo 3, I haven't played through Halo 4. I actually got it sitting over there, and I've just never been a big fan of it. Like I played through them and I'm like, that was cool. I had fun playing it, but there's so many people out there that absolutely love that series, absolutely love the multiplayer of that series. It just doesn't resonate on the same level for me. So
I've put so much time into Halo 2 that it's sickening.
That's fair enough.
I put so much time into Skyrim that when my character was deleted, I cried. No, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
But
I was gonna say.
I was
did
upset.
you cry? Yeah.
I threw my controller at the wall.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time
I
spent.
had to go buy a new controller because
Yeah.
it like exploded on the wall.
I destroyed a controller playing Mod Nation Racers. That yeah.
I had 200 hours on this one character.
Good question. Which game has made you destroy controllers?
Yeah, that's our question. Kevin, if you want to answer that question,
Our
we're
one
giving
fan,
you a question
Kevin.
back.
I think
Has a game ever
doesn't
made
like
you
us anymore.
destroy
Yeah, I think
control?
he's probably ran away. He's never coming back again. We just been like, Kevin.
Kevin.
Okay, so
Sorry,
that's...
we're the only person we know the name of that listens to this.
So email us, guys, because you can email us at checkpointachieved@gmail.com, or you can even go to our website, checkpointachieved.com, and there's a questions page right there where you can send us a question. Super easy to do that. And if you send a question in, you'll get the love that Kevin's gotten today, which is a bit on the creepy level, but...
We'll give
Probably
you an
not as much,
honorable mention.
because you're not our first.
Yeah, you're not our first time, so...
You'll just be number 2.
You'll be, you know...
And you know what that stands
And
for.
we'll just be a little bit drunk. And...
Yeah, it'll just be awkward, and we won't say goodbye to you in the morning.
We'll just say your name once.
Yeah.
What up?
Cat Bear will be on the desk.
Yeah. Well, but still, come over, spend some time, send us an email.
Yeah.
Again, checkpointachieved@gmail.com. And let us know a game that you want to specifically maybe see us play that you really think has an important place in this generation. But for this episode, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back next week.
Goodbye.
See you around.